First, a moment for toe. Hey y'all, know it's been a while, we're just gonna brush past that. Like all good friendships, we're just gonna pick back up right where we left off. Hey, a little disclaimer, this episode is meant to be consumed in video form to fully understand the jokes and context of everything. If you really must listen without the video, fine. I promise, I've been busy. I've been working on planning for this and other things, not just concepts of a plan, mind you, an actual plan that I'm very excited to sort of continue with, I guess. Kind of feel like I'm hosting a Teams meeting right now because I'm just such in the 9 to 5 mindset. So, hey team, how was your weekend? Yeah, no, I've just been on my 9 to 5 grind. Got bills to pay, got things to take care of, and responsibilities to have. I don't know when this happened to me. I should be in college, I should not be an adult. But here we are. And I also have a really bad executive dysfunction. So at the end of the day, after I clock out, shut my computer, and walk to my living room, I will not be leaving that spot until I go to bed. And that's something that we're going to be talking about today because that's a problem and that's not how I want to be. Got my iced chai with no ice because we don't have any at the moment, ready to go.
Amazing.
Feeling good. Let's get into it. The first thing we are going to be doing is saying goodbye to summer because what the fuck was that and how is it over? I literally feel like I blinked and worked the entire summer and now it is October. So, I mean, I know that, like, as you get older, your perception of time gets faster because you've lived, like, this 1 year is just, there's a bug on the tripod. A bee at that. Anyways, your perception of time sort of speeds up because each year that you live is just like a smaller fraction of your overall existence, so it feels faster. But I don't care. We're also in a simulation, so they just fucking press 3 times on this summer. It was a great summer. I had a lot of good experiences. It was my first time working a full-time job in the summer, and I'm used to, you know, as a kid being at the pool like every day, sleepovers every day, like complete chaos. So, you know, being an adult and having rent and a family, like not kids, but 2 cats and a boyfriend was a reality check, but in a good way. Like, if it wasn't for my full-time job, I wouldn't have everything else that I have right now. So I will take it. I just wish I could have had a few more pool days. All of my friends from like school are still in college, and I chose a different path, which is fine. Like, I dropped out of college twice, and I'm satisfied with that. Like, this is what I want to be doing. But there are times, like especially in the summers, and on the weekends during the school year, when I feel a little bit discombobulated because my friends have off in the summers and they're just like, you know, hanging out, maybe a part-time job, and I'm like, yep, every day is the same as it was before this. And then the weekends come and they're like at parties, and I get invited, of course, but I'm like, I would like to sit in my house that I pay a lot of monies for. I don't know, it's great. I'm grateful to be invited and get to still dabble in it, but there is sort of a sense of like my equilibrium is thrown off. I'm really happy with the route I'm going in, like with my job and such, and doing this stuff, which I would not be able to do if I also went to college. So I'm happy with it. It certainly can factor into like some weird feelings though, but I can't imagine doing this without Andrew. I would feel so fucking lonely, but we're in this together. My first vacation of the year wasn't until August, so I was like dying. It was so hot. We didn't have a pool membership or anything like that, so I was struggle busting through it. But finally it came. The circumstances were amazing too. Like, Andrew's sister paid for our flights. Like, we did not have to pay for a flight. We didn't have to pay for like accommodations there. Really just like food, goodies, that sort of thing. And I was having 10 days of PTO, so really things were looking good. The stars were aligning for us, okay? I have never been further than Florida or Tennessee. I don't know which one's technically further. Prior, and I was really young. I was like 12. So this was like a big deal. Like, we live in PA, so like, whoop, that's like, you know, that's out there. I was really excited. I also have a family member that lives out there that I hadn't seen over there ever. I've seen her here, obviously, but it was really exciting to get to like go to her and see what her life is like there. Fucking hashtag jealous is what I am. I actually always wanted to go to UCLA as a kid. Like, that was like my dream school with every other fucking 10-year-old. And then I chose community college and dropped out. Anyways, the day finally comes. I think it was technically like July 31st. I worked that day. Like switched my shift to get off earlier. Our flight was at 8 p.m. So whatever, I clock out. We Uber to the airport. I fucking loved the Philadelphia airport. That was like the biggest mall I'd ever been in. It was like the Christiana Mall, if you've ever been there in Delaware, but better somehow. Like, we're talking 10 of the same convenience stores on every corner. We're talking a Philadelphia hoodie that I bought even though I've lived right outside of Philly my entire life. Why not wait till the California airport? Immediate gratification, that's why. Andrew and I had just watched the movie The First Omen the day before, and we were like obsessed with the idea of like Damien the Bad Omen, whatever. So we got Chicky and Pete's before our flight because it got delayed. And there's this priest standing there with like 8 rosaries, crosses nailed to him all around. Me and Andrew are joking. We're like, oh my god, is that a bad omen? Something was a bad omen, let me tell you that. Anyways, we finally board our flight, and it's grounded for another hour and a half. I just played Good Pizza, Great Pizza, so it was fine. But I would have rather waited in the airport, that beautiful place that she is, than on the plane. I did have a window seat, but it was nighttime. Yeah, nah, I was not a happy camper for that hour and a half. Anyways, we finally land in Denver because we have a layover. It's like 3 a.m. We go to our Airbnb, and this entire part feels like a fever dream. I was very excited. It kind of felt like the night before Christmas, like yours, like giggly and bubbly or whatnot. I don't think either of those words are what I meant to say, but you get what I'm trying to say. So we get to our Airbnb. It's beautiful, like big arch ceilings. That's really like the main thing I remember. And me and Andrew had our own room, whatever. We go right to bed. The next morning we wake up. I biblically needed a mimosa, So I look up mimosas near me, and what do you know? There's a breakfast place called Mimosas with like an entire mimosa menu, one with grenadine. And if you know me, you know I love a Shirley Temple. So I'm like, put it in the maps, we're going there. It's like 2 miles away, and Andrew and his sister had been hyping up these scooters that are in Denver because they'd been there before, and I'm like, this is not a good idea. I know me. I always used to crash my bike as a kid. Last time I tried to ride a bike, I could not, so I knew this was a bad idea, but I didn't want to disappoint them, so we get outside. There's the perfect amount of scooters for our group. There's 3 couples at the time. It's me and Andrew, his sister and her boyfriend, and then his cousin and her boyfriend. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. Andrew runs through the rules with me real quick. I'm like, we got it. I step on this scooter, and I'm driving it, and I feel like I'm on top of the world because that was easy. So I do a few tests, up and down the block. And I tried to stop at one point, and I went up this curb a little hard, and I was like, okay, won't do that again. Noted, it's fine. We decided to go to Mimosas. We're en route. We're heading there. 10 seconds into our actual excursion, Andrew looks back. I'm like, wind blowing in my, hair blowing in the wind. I'm having the time of my life. He decides, all right, we're good. She's good. We got it. We're going. 5 seconds after he turns around from looking at me, like, I wish I could do like a more aggressive, like this, basically. I tried to stop the scooter with my foot while it was moving, while still using the throttle, instead of pressing the handbrake at all. And the reason for this is that I'm a fucking idiot. So I knew I was like, basically, we're going. Andrew's like, oh, stop sign. And I had run the previous stop sign because I did not know how to stop. So on my mind is still like, fuck, how do I stop? And I just get this vision in my head of me being absolutely pummeled by a car at this intersection. I stepped off the scooter. I just stepped off the scooter. Scooter drags me with it. I have my carry-on my back, goes up over my head. I'm like fucking laid flat on the cement. The world stopped. Like, I thought for sure I fucked up my whole face. I got no teeth. I need to go to the hospital. But I was embarrassed more than anything. I didn't care about my no teeth. I was embarrassed. So I poke my head up and I'm like, I'm good. And Andrew's like, oh my God, like freaking out. Everyone stops. I stood up. This is what it looked like. Trigger warning, injury. It wasn't that bad. It could have been a lot worse. I'm very lucky, but it did hurt like a bitch. I hit my jaw, my knee, my elbow, and definitely had a concussion. My foot also got stuck under the scooter, and that did not feel good, but I never went to the doctor about that, so there's something wrong with my foot. We sit down on this little bench. Some of the men scootered over to Rite Aid to get me things. I don't know. I'm in a complete dissociative state at this point. Andrew's cleaning out my wound with his shirt and my water bottle. This woman walks by and she's like, I live right there. Like, do you want help? I get the first aid kit. For some reason, we said no. Got cleaned up as good as we can. Still got a day to experience. Our flight's not for another like 8 hours. Worst part of this, one of the guys is like, so you're gonna get back on the scooter, right? I said, do you really think I'm gonna get back on that fucking scooter right now? So we could not go to the mimosa place, which was honestly the most devastating part of this entire trip to me. Mimosas, what could have been? After I get cleaned up and I'm somewhat in a normal state and I've made it very clear that I'm not getting back on the scooter, we try to find a closer place to go to. So we go to this like coffee bar that has like alcoholic coffee beverages. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's like almost better than a mimosa, right? We walk in, power goes out. Power just goes out. The guy's like, I'm sorry, no. Truly the greatest tragedy of this entire trip. We went to this like local restaurant, which support local businesses by all means. I just did not like their eggs. So we go to this like cute art park in Denver. I was in a way, but I was pushing through. It was beautiful, whatever. Lots of bees that really stressed me out at the time. We get back on the train, or we get on the train to go to the airport. And if you know anything about Denver airport, it's fucking giant. So we went through like the main TSA, and I asked this woman if they had like first aid or even just like alcohol, because we just used water. And she's like, no, we don't do that here. I can call you the paramedics. I'm like, do I look like I need a $3,000 hospital bill because I got a boo-boo? So we kept trekking along. We used antibacterial wipes on my wounds after we went through TSA. And mind you, on our layover on the way back, I saw like 3 first aid stations in that airport, so fuck you to that TSA worker. As it turned out, I had been taking Advil PM for the pain, which was like just what they grabbed at the Rite Aid. And I realized it on like the second day, but I was like, that is why I'm so fucking tired and in such a bad mood. So that also contributed. Besides that stuff, the trip was great. Like, we stayed at this house with a beautiful pool and a lazy river and a hot tub, and all I wanted to do was swim, but I could not because of how deep the wounds were. I did go in the hot tub once and it hurt really bad, so I kind of steered clear after that. All I wanted was to swim in the Pacific Ocean, but I knew it wasn't a good idea. Andrew jumped off the St. Clemente Pier, which I swear I would have done if I wasn't already injured. LA was awesome. Dana Point, awesome. Literally nothing but good things to say about California itself. Santa Catalina Islands, amazing. If you have not been there, try at some point. I know traveling is like expensive and life is the way that it is, but if you can, you should absolutely try to go there. I hope to go back one day and to Santa Catalina alone for a few days, because we were only there for the day. I'll put some pictures and videos and such here. During that trip, I spent about $150 on first aid, but I'm alive and I have some pretty wicked scars. Hang on. Kind of see it, and then the other one's here. We also went to Ocean City, Maryland at the end of August with my family. That's always been my family's location, and I want to live in Maryland. I just love it there so much. This trip also had a rocky start, which I'll probably tell that story in about a little under a month. Just stay tuned. Overall, it was a great summer. I'm so glad I got that second trip to enjoy without being like open wound and nasty. Yeah, so summer is over, and now we're going to talk about going into fall and some of my fall favorites, including not the e-scooters. First, I want to talk about these Fernway. Oh no, I never picked it up. First, I want to talk about my favorite smoke product that I've been using in the fall. This is not sponsored, I just discovered these and loved them. Fernway released limited edition fall scented disposable CARTS's shopping carts, and they are so good. So that we got pumpkin spice, which I went for first because look at me, and Honeycrisp, which my boyfriend went for because he loves apples, and this was also so good. They're both dead to the core because we loved these, but my only complaint was that the top part would get a little sticky and some lint would get stuck in there and such, but the flavor of these, so true to their name. The effects, amazing. It would feel like a DAB rather than just hitting a shopping cart. It was amazing. I'm still figuring out the things I can and can't say on each of the platforms that this will be on, so bear with me. Highly recommend these. I know New Jersey carries them. I'm not too sure all of the locations that Fernway branches out to, but I'll try and research it and put it here. These are so good. The pumpkin spice one, I will say, was a little perfumey. Like, it was very fragrant, but in your mouth, you know? Like, it was a lot. But the apple crisp, no complaints. Like, none. They put their whole pussy into that vape. Other than smoke products, well, actually, I didn't bring it out here, but we also just got a Puffco, which is like an electronic dab rig with an app. Changed my life. Changed the smoking game for us. Highly recommend. Also on the pricier end, but if you can find a discount code, like if you work in the industry or know someone who works in the industry, or I don't know, maybe they run sales, but it is worth it. As far as other media, as we mentioned, I'm kind of lazy, and that unfortunately goes into like consuming actual media. So normally I'm just like sitting doom scrolling. But what I have watched lately was Juno. I did an honorary rewatch of Juno because it's such a fall vibe to me for some reason. When I first saw it, I was with two of my girlfriends at... A bee just touched my arm. Oh my god. It's on my chair. It's on my chair. Okay. Go away. Oh my god. Guys, I don't know if it's still on me. I'm scared. Fuck. Oh my god. Anyway, the first time I watched Juno, I was with two of my girlfriends in her apartment at the time, and I think she still lives there actually. And it was fall, the October vibes were there, and so to me, it's just a fall movie, but great movie. Rewatch it, please. Can't a girl film a video? Fuck. Anyway, I've also been really into Perfect Match. I watched it like months ago at this point, but I'm waiting for a new season. Too Hot to Handle was okay. Didn't give the same effects as Perfect Match in my opinion. We've also been watching Tell Me Lies on Hulu, which is kind of triggering. Like, there's a lot of, if you're a woman who's been through a lot with men, it can be triggering, but it's a really good adaptation of the book that I did read, and it portrays a lot of things, at least in my opinion, from the female experience accurately, which is what makes it so triggering and so powerful. So check it out if you are in the headspace. I also decided to put Grey's Anatomy on as like a background show, and Andrew locked the fuck in, so now we're starting that over from the beginning so that he can appreciate Seattle Grace from its roots. I just touched the straw and I thought it was a bee. I also, of course, watched the presidential debate, not to make this super serious, but if you aren't already, please go get out there, register to vote, sign up for your mail-in ballot if you can't make it to the polls. This is the most important election that we have ever lived through, at least in my lifetime. And if you are above 18 or above, and you live in the US, do not wait. Your voice does matter, especially now. So please do what you can to make your voice known. I also read The Shadows Between Us, which had me gagged so good, and I'm reading A Little Life now. So if you want more information, more commentary on those books, I can absolutely do it. I just didn't want to dwell on that for too long when we have so much else to talk about. The last thing I want to talk about, and also the most important, as long as I don't get stung by that fucking bee, is getting off your ass and making your dreams a reality, because if you don't do it, who will? I have been chasing this podcast dream for like 2, maybe 3 years at this point. I had a true crime podcast when I was still in high school that did pretty well. I just got too lazy to keep doing it and stopped it. I always did like YouTube videos growing up that I was a teenager and preteen, so whatever. Always had little business ideas, like would run a card shop out of my grandma's house when I was a kid, had an Etsy shop during COVID. Like, I've always had every entrepreneurial bone in my body. Just when it comes to actual like motivation and execution, that's where you lose me. And I think the reason for it is that like I'm such a planner and I need everything to be perfect. I need the angle to be perfect, the content to be perfect, the outfit, the vibes, the day, it's all got to be perfect. And I just kept waiting for these perfect circumstances that were not going to come. And I would film a video, hated it, trashed it, film it, hate it, trash it. And then 9 months went by and I didn't post a freaking video. I'm still miserable working for someone else. Like, don't get me wrong, my job's awesome, but this is what I want to do. And I'm like, well, I've done nothing to make that come true this year other than complain. So let's get up, let's do it. I have so many dreams, and I've really taken the time this year to like plan them out and see how they all fit together, and how, I can develop one while working on another, or, just where I want to prioritize and how I foresee this actually coming to be. I've also been sort of getting into like manifestation and paving your own reality and such. So I think all of these factors are kind of coming to a head and making me realize like I gotta get the fuck up and do something, because all of these notes on my iPad don't mean anything until I share them with people who want to listen. Yeah, so anyways, not anymore. My online shop is coming for launch. It's going to be called Bridge... What? Anyways, not anymore. My online shop is coming up for launch. It's going to be called Bridge Bong & Co. We will be selling fun accessories, shirts, blah, 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 stuff like that with the stoner vibe. But also, I will be hand customizing water pipes and other sorts of smoke accessories for you and other stoner galleys and gentlemen and people to enjoy. So very excited for that. Lots of work still to do, but you can stay following along with that journey here as well. Podcast, of course, up and running here. I have a YouTube video in the works that I'm targeting for like the last week of October, and that's going to be a conspiracy-esque type video on Amish witchery. So yeah, there's some fun things coming. I really just hit a point where I was like, at least if I'm trying, any day I could wake up and it could be different, or I'll slowly reap the benefits of change rather than just scrapping idea after idea because it's not good enough and never trying. So I also really hate dealing with like lighting and angles and stuff like that. I love editing, but when it comes to like the technical stuff of shooting, I need Andrew. Like, he was out here with me for 20 minutes setting all this up because does not compute. There is much more coming. This was just sort of my soft reintroduction, make you guys know I'm still alive and want to do this. There is so much work going in behind the scenes. That fucking bee is on my phone. So much work going in behind the scenes that I cannot wait to share with you in a more solidified format, and, learn more about how I want to present my content to the world. With that said, you can follow me on my socials and sort of tag along this whole journey. If there's anything you do want to see, please let me know. If it's a question, a topic, anything like that, let me know and we'll do it. There's really nothing I'm not open to trying at this point, content-wise. Don't make that dirty, please. So, yeah. Future episodes will have a bonus smoke sesh part on my Patreon, but again, we're easing it. Was not doing that this time. So, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate our return to friendship, and I will be back very soon for real this time.